Hello and welcome to week 20 of my Music Master's degree blog. The weather today, I'm not wearing sunglasses because it's typical Britain in June. It's misty and mizzly and not particularly pleasant. Just a quick update on the health. Last time I said I had long COVID. Well, since then I've actually had COVID, which in many respects was a good thing because it may well have started to reset my immune system because I'm starting to feel a lot better. The brain fog is slowly rescinding, and so is the fatigue. So hopefully that'll be it fairly soon. As part of the monitoring, though, of me with my long COVID, the doctor sent me to the audiology department at the beginning of May, and the guy tried to look at my ears and said we can't do the test because it's full of wax. So I had to take this spray oil, and then literally last week. The guy managed to, hope you haven't had lunch actually while I'm explaining this, because he sucked out these enormous plugs of wax, which, to be honest, I couldn't believe. And it's a testament, to the human hearing that I've just done the mixing mastering module, and I've been getting some good feedback, which I'll talk about later. And yet, despite me mentioning that the fact I was, I was having this treatment to get rid of these plugs, the guys were saying that, your hearing's fine. And when I actually had my hearing test, what they did is they put in these plugs with little speakers in, and they fired this white noise at me, and that's all I could hear. And then attached to my sort of bone here was this device. And he started to play tones through this device, and I was hearing them through my skull. So I think what this whole sort of incident showed me is, A, how amazing the human hearing system is. And we don't just hear through our ears, it appears that we also hear through our head as well. So, amazing. Right, the album, Yesterday News. When I had the blog last, I was hoping to say it was going to be released this month, but it's not even mixed yet, for various reasons. One is that I'm implementing the feedback because you may recall that they were part of the summatives, which is the bit which actually counts towards your grades. And I got some amazing feedback from those. And one of them is our lead tutor, Phil Larson. Now, you may not know Phil, but he's just co-produced Soft Cell's last album, which you will be familiar with them. I've also seen him on a video where he was playing keyboards for Claudia Broken, who was one of the singers in Propaganda, who were big in the 80s. And playing keyboards with Claudia was, I can't remember if it's a partner or a husband, but it was Paul Humphreys from Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, who I'm a huge fan of. I've been to many of their concerts, I've got all their albums, and I also like the fact that they don't write necessarily about emotional stuff, they also write about objects and things like that, which I find quite fascinating. Well, Phil wrote, and this was about yesterday's news prologue, which was the music that played out at the last blog. And if you didn't hear it, then just please go back to the link. I'll put the link down below, and you can have a listen. And he said, yesterday's news prologue sounds like my favourite OMD at the height of architecture and morality, really first rate. So, I mean, when you get a comment like that, if that can't lift you and give you motivation, for making music in the future, I don't know what will. So that was amazing. We've done the mixing and mastering module, and the summatives, I've put those in, where I had to mix and master 4 tracks. And the results I should get this week. But while I was preparing these, I had some one-to-ones with the 2 main mixing tutors. The first one was Billy Decker, where we were asked to mix his daughter's music, Hayley, her name is. And he said to me, Bob, don't move to Nashville. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I've got no comments at all about one of the tracks. And as for my daughter's track, push the backing vocals, a little bit wider. And apart from that, you've done a better version than I did. And again, when you're getting feedback like that, it really does give you a tremendous lift. The other tutor, Roy Merchant, he said, I'm hearing some graininess in these two tracks you've sent me. So he asked me, what's your setup? Have you got any outboard gear? And I said, yes, I've acquired this compressor equalizer. And he said, well, what converters are you using? And I said, well, I couldn't use the audio interface converter because I didn't have enough inputs and outputs, so I had to buy these two ones from Amazon. He said, are they studio quality? I said, well, probably not. He said, I think you've got a problem with the converters. Now, I couldn't hear the difference, but he's been, in the industry for 25 years, and a lot of that time he's been mixing. So I decided, right, I better do some testing. So I did a mix without the outboard gear and with it, and then I did a null test, which, if you're not familiar with, that's where we invert the phase of the track, because if two tracks are identical and you invert the phase of one of them, then they will cancel each other out and you'll hear silence. Well, in this particular one, I heard this strange, like, mid-range, top-endy stuff coming from the outboard gear, which had these converters that he was suspicious of. So I mixed and mastered the rest of those 4 tracks without the outboard gear, because I didn't want to colorize them unnecessarily. And I've just recently upgraded to the Claret Plus 8 Pre, which will, they've got studio quality converters in them, plenty of inputs and outputs, and from now on I should be able to use my outboard gear again. So amazing. Again, I would never have got that feedback from anybody else, I don't think. So amazing. Well, we're now moving on to the lyric writing, which is part of an elective. We get 2 electives, and I've chosen lyric writing because I really want to improve the quality of my lyric writing, and also to be able to help Jill out when she does hers, and I can give her some constructive feedback. The other elective, which has not been unlocked yet, which I'll be doing in a couple of months' time, is Adventures in Experimental Music, which should be really interesting. Now, I've got the ideas for my final project at the end of the course, which is basically going to be almost like an autobiography of my life story. But I didn't have a clue as to what to write for the lyrics, so I said to Jill, have you got any ideas? And she said, well, why not write about your hobbies? Now, golf, fishing and music, yeah, I mean, I can write about them, but the challenge really was to not include the title, i.e. golf, fishing or music, and not even have that word appear in the lyrics. I've done the golf one and had some feedback from my course, which was really good, and they've asked me to strip it right back and make it a little bit more ambiguous, so that it's, as the listener or reader is going through it, they're not quite sure what the subject's about until later. The fishing one, I'm not going to be able to strip that back too much. And the music one, I'm going to wait until I've had feedback from the other 2, which hopefully I'll be submitting in the next couple of weeks. But one thing I wanted to share with you, which I think you might find interesting if you are a songwriter, is that you may recall I said we had a webinar with Tom Baxter, who was a singer-songwriter and wrote the first track, Almost There, on Shirley Bassey's album Performance. And we had another webinar with him a few weeks ago, and he said if you're stuck for songwriting ideas, what I suggest you do is you just lock yourself away in a room, set yourself a timer, and just write down on paper just what comes into your thought. He calls it a stream of consciousness. I'm a bit sort of more down to earth than that. It's just what comes out in the head. And I just literally set a timer for 45 minutes and just wrote out words and words and words for each subject. And you can see I've put some colour highlighting on this. This is what I did in the second session. So 45 minutes, write the words down, take a break, then have another session, 45 minutes, where you actually convert as many of those words into the verses, choruses, or just simply verses, bridges, whatever structure you decided. And to give myself something to hang my hat on, I did give myself a basic structure to start with, hence the colour coding. And I found that, in one I had 30 seconds spare, and in the other one I had about 5 minutes spare, and I came up with those songs in that space of time. So, really interesting idea. And if I'm stuck for ideas in the future, that's definitely a sort of a procedure or system, whatever you want to call it, that I shall be trying, and I hope that it may help you as well. Now, a master's degree is academic, so it's, you know, we can't do it all practical, and we're now hitting the really academic phase of the course before we get on to the final project. And I have to write 2 essays. I won't explain what the second one is yet. I'll leave that to the next blog because I think you'll find it pretty interesting. But the first one is compare and contrast the narrative of 2 songs and how they're communicated. Well, I decided to use the subject of divorce, which, don't worry, because Jill and I have just celebrated 36 years of being together last week, and I don't think she's going to be leaving me any time soon, so I'm pretty safe using that subject. But I thought I'd use 2 different contrasting ideas to compare, and I'm taking one from the male side, which is slightly tongue-in-cheek, and they're both Grammy winner singers. One is Jerry Reed, who's no longer with us, but he's a country singer, and his song is "She Got the Gold Mine, I Got the Shaft," and obviously very materialistic. And the other side, which is the female side, is Adele's "Easy on Me," which is obviously a lot more emotional. And so that should provide me with some, you know, some interesting ideas to discuss, analyse, and write about. So that's the update for the moment. I'm getting ahead of the course because I'm trying to build in some spare time so that we can have a break, and in a couple of weeks we're hopefully going to see our youngest son is a golf caddy for a lady on the European tour, a Slovenian girl called Pia Babnik, and she's only 18 years of age, but she's already won 2 competitions on the ladies tour in Europe. She's currently out in America at the Ladies US Open, and we haven't met her yet, so hopefully during the break we're going to be able to meet her. I'm going to play you out with a track that was part of the mixing and mastering module, where we had to submit our own songs for other students to mix, and I mixed Steve Dale. He made a track called Church. Now, Steve is very much a synthesizer musician and hadn't written songs, and so he like me, he doesn't sing, and I, you know, obviously through season 3 I have 3 singers to help me. He didn't have anyone to help him, so he bought an a cappella from the internet and wrote some excellent music to go around it, and what you're going to hear now is my mixed version and the mastered version too. So hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you again at this rate in another 2 months. Goodbye for now.
Church doesn't seem like the place that should bind you up, but I got a feeling that you know exactly what I mean. And I don't care what you believe in, you can't deny that the world can change. But what is it that is changing? Something beyond what we can see. I wanna what you want, it ain't gonna change me. Call me what you want, call me what you want. Call me what you want, I've got something to believe in. Oh, it ain't gonna change me. Call me what you want, call me what you want. Call me what you want, it ain't gonna change me. Call me what you want, call me what you want. Call me what you want, I've got something to believe in.